Hello, this is my first book haul video. This will cover books that I found in June and July and perhaps the start of August. I shall start with the first books that I got from a bookshop rather than a charity shop. The Borrables series by Michael de Larabetti, and I don't know whether I've pronounced that correctly. That is book 1, and that is book 2. I was very pleased to find those because I've been looking for that to complete that series for a long time. Many years ago I found this one, which is an Ace paperback. Shortly thereafter I bought this, a Piccolo paperback of the third and probably the most difficult to find in the series. And then I found nothing else for years. And then in August I found those two books, which means I have a full set of the Piccolo trilogy. There is an omnibus edition of this series which I have somewhere, but it is not very attractive with just drab blue covers. So that was probably my best buy of those 2 months. So what I will do is now cover some of the other stuff that I bought from charity shops, and I'll start with the A format paperbacks. The first thing I bought, and this was probably in June, was this trilogy by Phil Alcock. This one has cover loss where a label has come off, but otherwise these are in very nice condition. It's a complete trilogy. I cannot say I'd ever heard of the author before. I don't recall seeing these books before. But the chance to buy a complete trilogy in one go that I'd not seen before, I thought was worth taking. So that's that. Another find, this is August now, was John Wyndham The Web, a very nice first printing, and I'm quite delighted with that. Sorry, I've still got the receipt inside. Another book that I bought by Jane Yolen. Again, I haven't read any of hers, so I cannot say much about that. One book I was pleased to find was this, which is the third omnibus in that series. It appears to be rather uncommon, so although it costs £3, I thought this was a good buy. Very little wear, not perfect, but a nice copy. Next one was a Mike Resnick Door paperback. For my sins, I have collected Doors Beyond the Yellow Spines. I probably have most of the first 1500 and a few after that as well. I have the first one in this series, or I think, unless this is the first, yeah, this is book 2. So I have the first one in this series as well, which I picked up probably 6 months ago. So I was pleased to get that. The next one I got was The Icarus Hunt by Timothy Zahn. Now I already had a copy of this, but my copy was a third printing and, to be honest, just a reading copy. So I decided to upgrade. I've also seen this on a BookTube video, and it was reckoned to be an excellent story and was recommended. Now, I have read Timothy Zahn before, but not for a few years, so when I locate my sort of reading copy, I will get it out and it will go on my to be read pile. And finally, amongst the A paperbacks was Mashup, an anthology, some well-known authors you can see there. Condition was excellent. I've bagged this, so I will not be taking it out. And that completes my A format paperbacks. I did also buy B format paperbacks from charity shops. I'll briefly run through them. The Boy Who Wept Blood by Den Patrick. I've never read this author. It's the first book of his that I've got, but it was lovely condition, and so I decided to buy. Another book I bought, Carmen Dog. Now, I often like to buy the women's press books when I see them. I haven't got very many, but when I saw this one, I thought I would buy it, even though from the write-up I'm not certain it's the sort of science fiction or fantasy that I would enjoy. Next, this one. Now, there is a trilogy by Janet Edwards, and this completes it for me. So I was pleased to pick that up. But I haven't read her before, so I can't say very much about that. Next one, Moonstorm by Yoon Ha Lee. Now, I get the impression the books that he writes are space opera, and I have a few, but again, I haven't read him. But I was pleased to find this one added to the list. Next, Ken Liu, who is perhaps best known for the Three-Body Problem translation. I have one or two others by him, and this I was pleased to find. Lovely copy. The next one, this is a trade paperback from America. I know nothing about the author, but I thought I'm not likely to see this book again, so I decided to buy. The next one, Rachel Kane. I have read a few of Rachel Kane's. She was an easy to read author, and I quite enjoyed her Weather Warden books. So I picked this one up, again, lovely condition. Finally, the ones I bought from charity shops, there are two by Maria Snyder. First one, Inside Out, and the second sequel, Outside In. I have read the first of these. I read it a few years ago on holiday, and I was impressed. And when I came back, I looked out to see if I could find the second one, and I never did. My original copy was a reading copy that I picked up on holiday, and I since disposed of it. So when I saw the two in the charity shop, I was very pleased to buy them, and I will probably read the first one again and then book two. What I will cover next is books that I've got from a shop near me that offers free books. And over the months I've picked up one or two interesting books. Some are just reading copies. Some are nice enough to go into my collection. So this is about 2 months worth of books, and I shall run through them with you. Firstly, I picked up a couple more Maria Snyders. Very nice condition, not quite perfect, but having read one of hers in the past, I decided I would like to get these. She was recently doing a signing, or a visit if you like, to Forbidden Planet. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because I went to a different signing event. So unfortunately, I would have liked to have got those signed, but wasn't able to do so. The next one I got free was this one, which many of you will know. It won the Hugo, as did the next two in the series. And I've read that, so it's not very good condition. It's a reading copy, so it will go back to the shop in the next 2 or 3 weeks. What did I think of this book? I thought the world that had been developed was brilliant. I wanted to know more about it. The characters and the writing style I was not as enamoured with. So I thought it was a good book. I would definitely read the next two if I see a reading copy around. But was it worth the Hugo? Well, I'll let you make up your own mind. But I enjoyed reading it. Again, I got a free one of hers. I'm not convinced it's the style that I'll enjoy, but I may try and read it in the next few weeks. Next book I got was a hardcover, Irish Masters of Fantasy. Condition isn't great, but the Irish and Fantasy Reader, I don't know whether you can see that. It's sort of autobiographical pieces about some authors from the past, starting with an author I've never heard of, Charles Robert Maturin, who lived from 1780 to 1824. And the last one is Lord Dunsany. Condition a little bit rough, and as you can see, it's probably stored in a garage or something from all the dirt on the dust jacket. So I'm not certain it's my thing, but I'll probably start it and see what I think of it in due course. Another book which I was pleased to get was this. Now this is an uncommon book. The condition isn't brilliant, it's got a crease there, but it's uncommon and rare. I haven't read it before, but felt I couldn't leave it on the shelf. I had to get it, and I'm looking forward to reading that one. I then picked up this. Now I have a copy of this, so this is now going to be a spare that can go into my reading pile. So I was pleased to get that. The next one is this. I don't think I've got a copy of this book by him, so I couldn't resist. I'm not a collector of SF Masterworks, but I thought I should get it as I hadn't got a copy. Next is this. Now, it's a tale of Langdon St Ives. From what I gather, there's about 8 or 9 in this series, and this is only my second one, so no idea what I will think of this, but it was a nice condition book. Next, I've not read her books. This is a reprint. It's an omnibus of 2 books. It's a reading copy, so I have several of her books in better condition, so I will use this to see what I think of her as a writer. I also got this one. Again, this is a spare now, so I can treat this as a reading copy. Nice condition. Next, I picked up this. Now, there is another edition by Hodgson about Carnacki, the Ghost Finder, and I didn't know whether it was the same. Looking at the contents, they appear to be the same. Now, this is an old copy I had, not brilliant condition, so I'm going to have to decide which of these I keep and which ones I part with in due course. And the last one I got from this free bookshop was this one. I haven't read it, it's a reprint, so it can go into my reading pile. I don't have to be too careful of it. So that covers what I picked up free from this free bookshop. Now, I'll now go on to hardbacks. Normally I would say I pick up at most 1 or 2 hardbacks a month, and I tend not to pay that much. But the end of July, it was really weird. I went into about 7 or 8 charity shops and I found hardbacks in every one, and I felt they were really good value and I couldn't leave them. So I'm now going to show you 14 hardbacks that I bought for the grand total of £22.50p. This was all within a spell of 10 days. So nothing like that has happened before and nothing since. So I'll run through and let you form your own opinion of my hardback purchases. First one is Galaxius by Stephen Baxter. Now, I have a lot of books by Stephen Baxter. I haven't removed that yet. Condition isn't great. The laminate is coming up, but this was £2. As I haven't got the hardback, I haven't got the paperback, I thought as a minimum this would be a very nice reading copy. You never know, it may eventually be the only copy I find of this book. So I was pleased to get that. Another book I bought, Stone Clock by Andrew Bannister, signed by the author. I'll show you the signature if I can get to it. Andrew Bannister. So I didn't have my book list with me at the time. I knew I'd got the trilogy, but I didn't know whether I had a signed copy of this, so I bought this. When I got back, I found that I had got a signed copy, so this is now one of my spares. Next book, River of Stars by Guy Gavriel Kay. Now, he's a really good author. It's quite some time since I read him, but I felt I couldn't leave this on the shelf. Next is this one, Guardians of Magic, and it's a signed copy, or should I say a copy with a book plate. So that's that. Next, again I couldn't leave it, the last one in the Wheel of Time. I have some of the earlier ones, I have a few gaps, but this was £1, I couldn't leave it. Again, all these books that I'm showing you are all first printings. Next one is an author I know nothing about, Carrie Thomas. It's a signed book. Again, lovely condition, so I couldn't resist. Next is this one, Battle of the Sun by Jeanette Winterson. Again, a signed book. So again, I didn't think I could leave it. Next one is another author I've never heard of before. Again, I think this was signed. Yes, not much of a signature, but it is signed. Again, I felt I had to get. The next one was this one. Again, I know nothing about the author. Again, it is signed, and as you can see, it's got the edge patterns. So again, I felt I had to get. Now, I've always liked Anne McCaffrey's books and the Pern books. After she died, I don't know whether this is her daughter or someone else, but, and I have the paperback of this, but I didn't have the hardback, so again, I felt I ought to buy. The next one is this. Now, I have one or two Mark Lawrence books. I have this in paperback. It's not signed, but again, a lovely copy, so I felt I needed to get it. Last. Sorry about that. All the books just fell down. Next, I got this one by M.R. Carey, not signed, not one an author I know anything about. So I'll just pick the last ones. This one, Mallory Blackman. I think everyone's heard of her. I don't think I've ever read any of hers, but it is inscribed. So again, I had to buy. And finally, Beyond the Burn Line by Paul Macaulay. Now, this wasn't signed, but I went to a signing a few days ago and got him to sign. So I now have a signed copy of that. So I thought it was an unbelievable bargain to get those 14 books for £22.50. I've never had a run like that in a very, very long time. Anyway, that is it for my book haul. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye.